It started with a rumble beneath the earth, so faint it was almost unnoticeable, but by nightfall the tremors grew fierce, cracking roads and toppling old buildings. The sleepy coastal town of Black Ridge was shaken to its core. Beneath the fractured earth lay something long forgotten, until now. The first sign was the cryptic symbols carved into the ancient burial chambers, unearthed by the quake. Archaeologists flocked to the site, thrilled at the discovery of what appeared to be an ancient necropolis hidden beneath the hills for centuries. The townsfolk were less enthused. Something about the air near the dig site felt wrong. Day 1. A dense, unnatural fog blanketed the excavation area. The air turned bitterly cold, and the ground pulsed as though it were alive. The lead archaeologist, Dr. Evelyn Kane, ignored the warning signs and pressed forward. Her team unearthed several sarcophagi made of black stone and wrapped in chains covered with glowing runes. No one could translate the ancient script. By midnight, the runes dimmed, the air grew still, and the chains broke. Day 2. The first victim was a security guard patrolling the perimeter. They found his body at dawn, shriveled and dry, his face frozen in a mask of horror. Then came the others, silent figures cloaked in decayed burial shrouds, their mummified skin cracked and glowing with ancient magic. These were not ordinary zombies. Each carried a curse from the time of their death, a deadly power tied to the sins they were buried with. There was Kafir, whose skeletal touch turned flesh to sand, his footsteps leaving deserts in his wake. Amara, the weeping queen, could summon deadly waves of blood, drowning her victims in sorrow. And worst of all, Neferu, the high priestess, whose eyes burned with green fire. She spoke in tongues that twisted reality, driving those who listened into madness. Day 3. Black Ridge was no longer a town. It was a battlefield. Survivors barricaded themselves in homes and churches, whispering prayers for dawn. The streets were rivers of ash and sand, the air thick with the scent of decay. Dr. Kane realized the runes on the sarcophagi had been warnings, curses meant to imprison the buried dead, ancient rulers punished for their sins against the gods. She and a small band of survivors gathered in the crumbling library, hunting for clues to stop the undead plague. They were never meant to be disturbed, Kane whispered, tracing the symbols in a dusty tome. We must seal them back beneath the earth before they consume everything. But the buried dead were relentless. They sensed the growing fear, feeding on it, becoming stronger with every soul they claimed. Kane had one chance, a ritual that required relics from the burial chambers and a sacrifice. Day 4. The final stand took place in the heart of the excavation site. Kane and her group fought their way through the ruins, dodging deadly sandstorms and waves of blood. With trembling hands, she performed the ritual, each word burning her throat like fire. The ground beneath her split open once more, swallowing the ancient mummies in a vortex of blinding light. As quickly as it had begun, it was over. The fog lifted, and the earth sealed itself again. Black Ridge was silent once more, but it would never be the same. The survivors left town, their eyes hollow and haunted. No one spoke of what had happened, for fear of calling the buried dead back to the surface. The excavation site was abandoned, a warning sign placed at its gates. Do not disturb. Yet deep beneath the ground, the chains on the sarcophagi reformed, weakened but not broken. They waited, patient and hungry, for the earth to tremble once more.